Flash boutiques. So I'm going to talk about something the Flash boutiques, that maybe some of you haven't heard of before, don't know about, but there's one way that I've sold, and I'm going to talk about it because I don't plan on doing it anymore. Have any of you heard of Jane.com? Jane.com is what I would consider a flash boutique, and I think they kind of consider themselves a flash boutique too, flash boutique. But I've sold thousands and thousands and thousands of items through Jane.com, and SassySteals.com, and who's the other one? There's one other. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'll put it in the notes at the end of the deal. But you have a couple tiers of flash boutiques. You have I should do my homework before I start talking. That's what I should do. Anyways, I'm at a loss. Off the top of my head, I got a bad memory, and sometimes I wish that I was that person who I could just pull it up, and there you go. I recall photographic memory. That is not me. So there's some sites that, and if it comes to me, I'll tell you who it is. But there's some sites that do flash deals. The problem is that some of them require you to be able to sell a certain volume. You got to be able to have a certain volume in order to sell them on them. A volume history, certain reputation in the market, and so there are only certain players that can step into and sell in some of these markets. Jane, on the other hand, is kind of right in the middle there. Jane's this huge player in this flash boutique market. And then you've got smaller people like Sassy Steals and some other companies that do some of this that just don't get quite the traffic that Jane does. Jane does some great marketing and has some great partnerships with people all around the country. So Jane.com. So how does this work? First of all, you've got to be able to get an account with Jane. And so what you would do is you would contact Jane and you'd say, hey, I would love to sell on Jane. And if I remember right, I mean, I started doing this 5-6 years ago or something like that. And since then, they've started to get a lot more business and a lot more competition. They limit the number of items that they sell. And so it becomes a lot more difficult to get your stuff listed. And you have to do a lot more planning in order to get things listed. But so you contact Jane, you say, I want to sell on Jane. And they say, okay, send us a sample of your stuff. Send us a sample of how it's packaged. Jane really wants to be that company that people are excited to see the product that they buy off of Jane show up at their house. And so oftentimes where they can, they're going to look for somebody who sells a really unique product or has a really unique spin on things. But if you can get them to allow you to sell with them and you develop that relationship with them. Now, this relationship is, we sell it, you make sure you fill it on time. So you only got a couple days to turn it around. And sometimes it can be a lot of product. But anyway, so you sell it on Jane, but people get excited to see it. Now, here's kind of how it is. I have a shirt that I sell for $20. When I sell it on Jane, I'm going to sell it to Jane on Jane for close to half off. In some cases, maybe 40% off. Rare occasions, 30% off. They really want the people to get a good deal. Now, when I list my deal on Jane, it's only going to be up for 3 days. they're going to market the wazoo out of it. And I'm not even joking about the marketing the wazoo out of it. They're going to market it everywhere, all across the country. And they have this army of women that's this big, army of women that love Jane and look at it every single day and get every single notice of new things that are for sale on Jane and scroll through all the new deals every single day. And most of your sales are just going to come from the first day, the very first day that it's listed. Now, to give you an idea, if you list things on Jane, and Jane's going to take like 25% of that. So let's say $20 shirt. Let's say you mark it half off, so it's $10. They're going to take $2.50 of that. And then if you add freight on or not, they'll add the freight on. So you could sell it without freight, or you could add freight. The better deal you make it, the more you're going to sell, though. But let's say you added $2 for freight, so you would get $9.50 off of the sale because you get $7.50 plus the $2 freight. And then let's say it cost you $3 to ship it, so you made $6 off of it. If and then kind of whatever it cost you to print the shirt. Let's say it cost you $2.50 to make the shirt, so you made $3.50 a shirt, if I did my math right. Now here's kind of the difference. 3 days of sales. In 3 days of sales, I might sell 10 shirts. That doesn't happen very often on Jane, by the way. It's not very often you only sell 10 shirts. More than likely, and actually if you only sell 10 shirts, Jane's likely they'll pull you off the first day. So you won't be on there very long. More than likely you're going to sell 50. You're going to sell 100. You're going to sell 200. I've been on there and I've seen people that have sold literally thousands of shirts in one day. I know one Jane seller, and I was talking to them about a particular product that they were selling on Jane. And I guess I became familiar with Jane because they are a local company here in Utah. Their offices are just over in Thanksgiving Point in Lehi, and they got a beautiful office, and it's kind of one of those really modern tech companies that, and really they're just as stylish as they try to be as a company. Their offices and the people who work there and everything seem to exude that same style. But anyways, maybe that's why I found out about them so many years ago, is because they're local and so that local interest in that. But anyways, so this person that I know that sold through Jane, I remember talking to them one day about a particular product that they were selling, and it happened to be this necklace. And she was telling me about how they had literally sold like 10,000 units of it in one day. 10,000 units in one day. I mean, that's like Amazon style sales, the Amazon level of sales, to sell 10,000 units of one particular item in one day. But it's an avenue, it's a channel, it's a location where you can go, and if you can get your product on there, you can move a lot of it in a day. So what's the best way to succeed on Jane? So number one, plan ahead. Last time I sold something on Jane, they had about a 2-month lead time, meaning that if I wanted to sell something, it was going to take about 2 months before it could get put on there because of the number of sellers that they had, and they limit the number of items that they'll feature. And so if I'm thinking I want to put something on in Christmas time, I might even have to think earlier than that. I might, because they have regular sellers that realize that, hey, if I'm going to, and they probably have preferred sellers that they just continue to list or have a relationship that they'll list no matter what. But if if I want something, say, listed at Christmas, I might have to be submitting it in September, October, September, in order to get it on at Christmas time, and maybe they may even be full. If I want to put something on at Valentine's Day, I need to be listing it, in December, maybe even November, to try to make sure that I get it listed. So planning ahead, you need to take actual photographs. That means you got to print the shirt. Your model has to be wearing the shirt. you know, they've over the years have been real sticklers about photoshopping images on shirts. I know that I've seen there's some that still kind of trickle through, but for the most part, they want authentic, real photographs of product, which they feel, and it's true. It is true. The better seller, you can have them in a realistic setting, wearing the product, a decent looking model. It's going to help sell the product. They kind of went through a phase where they wanted everything printed on a white background, and I think they've kind of moved away from that. And they photographed on a white background, and they've moved away from that, I think, a little bit. And then you're supposed to have all the inventory on hand, all the printed shirts. Now, this is where Jane becomes a little bit of a stickler. If I'm going to list that I have 200 shirts in these sizes, these color variations, by the time that, because I have to specify when am I going to have these shipped by. Most people, just like Amazon, want it shipped as quick as possible. Within the first day or two, they get shipped. Other people, you've got a week to ship them. In rare instances where it's a handmade or it's a customized type product, you have up to 2 weeks to ship it. But you're on a time crunch. You've got to get that product turned, and you've got to get it mailed out, which can be problematic for some people if they aren't disciplined in getting that product turned. If you are selling it and don't have any inventory on hand and have a turnaround time for producing that inventory that exceeds that time limit, that's also going to cause you some real problems, because the more delays you have and the more times you exceed the time limit, the less likely they are to continue working with you. So you do have to turn that product rapidly. Now, Jane is very good at paying you. I don't think I ever once had a single problem about getting paid by them. Like Amazon, it just shows up when it's supposed to. Once the deal's complete, within the next day or two, the money's in your bank account. So they're very, very good to work with, very easy to work with, and I think a very, very exceptional company. So t-shirt printers, if you want to make some money and you don't mind taking a smaller piece of the pie to turn a lot of units more rapidly, Jane's a great place to go and investigate and try to sell. They are going to want to sell things. They consider their off the top of my head, I know they got 5 or 6 different categories of women that buy from them, but their ideal customer is what they consider the Jane girl, Jane woman, Jane. I don't know. If you just go look at the website, and you'll be able to see what types of styles they sell. They're not gonna sell, in most cases, redneck wear. They're not going to sell things that are the fringe on society, like smoking pot or things that are pornographic. They're going to sell things that have a great market and mass appeal. Stylistic. I've seen a lot of things that they I don't know, they do kind of shift towards a little bit of the trendy side of things. They like the creative graphic tees and things like that. But again, as well, if you have a big customer base yourself that you could push towards a deal that you did on Jane to improve your footprint and increase your sales and things like that, that also could help you significantly building a relationship with them. Anyways, so there you go. Flash boutiques. It's a great way to try to increase your business. I'll see if I can go find my list of boutique type sites. And you guys can go look at them. But again, I think Jane has probably the better traffic and results out of all of them that I've tried that weren't a step up to the level where there was they operate in a significantly different manner. So yeah, best of luck to you. Go Jane.